There's Officer Mustachio. Hello, officer.
How you doing?
Good. Thanks for being here.
No problem at all.
Always appreciate your pithy remarks.
Thank you.
We're just about ready to start, everybody. Welcome. I'm Matthew Murphy, Vice President of the Wharf District Council. This is our April meeting, although it feels a little bit like February out there. But happy to have all of you who are in the room and all of you who are in the Zoom call. Mark Margulies is on the call. Suzanne Lavoie is right here with me. John Larrabee. What did I say? What did I say?
You said Lavoie.
You said Lavoie. Is it Lavoie?
Yeah, I you just didn't say my first name.
Oh, Suzanne Lavoie. I'm sorry.
That's a,
Yeah, Suzanne is right here.
Lavoie.
Lavoie. Anyway, great to have you here. It's a very full agenda tonight, as you may have seen on the invitation that went out. But we're delighted that you're here. I'm going to really do my best to keep things moving along and for everyone to keep their remarks succinct, as there's a lot of information to go through this evening. Happy to have you here. First up, of course, is a report from our Police District A1. Looks like Officer Michael Mustachio is here. And Michael, Officer, can you give us a rundown?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I don't think I had anything to follow up on from last month, but April's a quarter of the way through the year, so I had our brick analyst, Rebecca. I don't know if she's on, but thanks to her if she is for doing this for us. She compares just for the Wharf District, not all of A1, year to date from 25 to 26. So from the first through today of both years to kind of see how we're doing comparatively. Homicides and rapes, we didn't have any last year. We don't have any this year. Aggravated assaults, we had 3 last year, 3 this year, so that stayed the same. Robbery, we had 2 last year, 0 this year. Commercial burglary, we had 1 last year and we have 1 this year. I looked into that one. I know Captain Driscoll discussed it with you guys in the past. They changed it this year. So when I think of a commercial burglary, I think of like a break-in and enter-in. They changed the way they classify the crime now. So if you were previously trespassed from a store and you go in and shoplift, now it gets upgraded to a commercial burglary. So that's what that was. It wasn't any like breaking and entering or anything. Residential burglary, we didn't have any either year. Larceny from a motor vehicle, we only have 1 so far this year. I got that report to read to you in a few minutes, so that went down. Other larcenies, which include package theft, shoplifting, just regular shoplifting, those are down 24%. And then for auto thefts, we had 5 last year. We only have 1 this year, so that's 80% down, but it's 5 to 1, so it's not as big as it looks. For quality of life calls, disturbances are down from 34 to 29, so that's 15%. Calls for people intoxicated, 78 to 74, so down 5%. Noise complaints, 18 to 10. Calls for aggressive panhandlers, we had 9 last year, only 1 this year. Loud party calls stayed the same, 2 each year. And then vandalisms went down from 5 to 4. So pretty much everything is down. The only thing that's up is under quality of life is fight calls. We had 12 in 2025 and 19 in 2026. So that's something we'll have to look into. But for the total stats, violent crime is down 40%. Property crime is down 36%. So total part 1, we're down 37%. And then the quality of life calls are down 7%.
Those percentages are citywide, or those particular to the Wharf District?
Particular to the Wharf District.
Okay, thank you.
And then the last part is Code 19s. I know I talked about them before. It's when you see us like monitoring traffic or just walking around. We did 52 up to date last year, and we're at 230 this year. So that's something Sergeant Wallace is big on. So that's a 342% increase. So we're really happy about that.
We are too.
Thank you. Then for in terms of reports, it was another good month. Nothing really major. This one's 11:42 a.m. on Sunday, March 23rd. We responded to a pedestrian struck that's at High Street and Surface Road. The victim was transported to the hospital before the officer got there. The officer spoke with some witnesses, and they said that the person ran across Surface Road. They said they weren't in a crosswalk and that the vehicles had the green light. The person who hit the person did stop and wait. He called it in, and he said the same thing as the witnesses, that he didn't see the person and they ran into the street and he hit them. So he's complying with the investigation. The officer did note that it was really rainy that day, so I don't know if that contributed to it. And then after the officer left the call, he went and followed up with the victim in the hospital, and nothing life-threatening, possible broken bone. And the driver did provide all of his vehicle insurance and everything. Another one we have here, this was about 1:50 p.m. on April 15th. Officers responded to 255 State Street. We received a call that a male had called into a suicide hotline and threatened to jump off the garage over there. The officers responded there, and they did a search of the garage, didn't find anybody. They also deployed a drone to the area up and around the garage. They didn't find anything. They ended up following up on it, and the person had called into the suicide hotline the day before and expressed the desire to do that. So our best team clinician went out to the scene and she'll be following up with that individual. Then lastly, we had a larceny report at the parking lot at 270 Atlantic Ave. Somebody called it in and said that he observed somebody walking away from his car. He said that he did leave his car unlocked, and he reported that $900 was missing from his wallet. The officers did speak to the guest services in the parking lot and watch the camera footage, and they didn't see anybody in the area of the vehicle when this allegedly occurred. So that one's assigned to the detectives. So they'll be further investigating that. But like I said, it was a good month. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Just one question from me. Can a correlation be drawn from the increase in the number of neighborhood walks that District A1 has done to the decreases that you reported on? Or is that a bit of a stretch?
No, I think it does. I mean, obviously, if we're somewhere, so you know what I mean? If we can't be everywhere, but when we are somewhere, people are going to think twice about doing something bad there. So we like to think that. We always try to have more of a presence in areas where we feel might need it. And generally, we do see that as those numbers go up, the crime numbers do go down.
Does anyone have a question? Yes, Jane.
Hi. This doesn't have to do with crime. It has to do with the road. India Road has been closed off for construction. I think it's called 5 India Road, the apartment building that's going up. I'm wondering if that building permit is still in effect for that road to be closed off, because that's been under construction now for a couple of years, I think.
Is that India Row?
India Road, she's asking about.
It's street. It's
India Street.
Okay. Is that one right on the corner there?
Yes, and the
I
road.
believe I'm sorry. I believe they do still have a permit. I'll put my email address in the chat, and then if you just want to send me an email, I'll follow up and check for sure. But I am pretty sure that they do still have permits over there.
Great. Officer Mustak, any other questions? Yes, Chris Cook.
I just have to say, I was just so blown away yesterday. One of the world's biggest events, most successful citywide effort by the City of Boston Police Department, but no one was working harder than A1 and D4. everyone smiles on their faces. The entire world arrives here. Everyone has an incredible experience with our law enforcement. And they do this knowing full well that they're heading into arguably the biggest summer that we've ever had in 30, 40 years. We're going to hear more about that later. But we are just so incredibly blessed to have the Boston Police Department in our city, but especially A1. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Round of applause.
Thank you. We appreciate it. I love the marathon. It's a good day. Everybody always has a good time. I worked from the marathon at 7 a.m. and then I had a concert at the Garden, so I was there from 7 till midnight. So I'm hurting today, but I love working the marathon. It's a good day. So
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying we appreciate the words. Thank you.
It's particularly remarkable, given that event, it's a high risk event, and yet all the police officers you come into contact with are
all smiles,
great moods. Yeah. So thank you, and to all your colleagues.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So next up, we have Dennis Quilty, who I believe is on the Zoom, and is Ryan Gazda here?
No, just Dennis.
Okay. Hi, Dennis. Welcome. And this is a presentation regarding a new beer garden business that has proposed or is going into Faneuil Hall Marketplace.
And we're very happy to be here. Thank you very much. I know Suzanne and Mark and Chris. Some of you I don't know. Dennis Quilty. I'm an attorney here in town, and I'm representing tonight Treehouse. With us is Sarah Moran, who's the Chief External Affairs, if you will, person for Treehouse, which is, as hopefully you all know, and really iconic Massachusetts farm brewery establishment. And we hope they will become the central focus of the turnaround of Faneuil Hall Marketplace.
Excuse me, Dennis, one moment, please.
Yeah.
Matthew, I think you need to set the recording.
Okay.
I made you the host, and I had previously set the recording, and you want to record to the cloud.
Okay, 1 second, please.
Sorry, Dennis.
No?
Just a minute, Dennis. Let's see. And where is that, please,
Should
Mark?
should be at the bottom someplace there.
I have video
Of the
my
Zoom
video, but let's see. Oops. Well, that's a different thing. 1 second. Okay. Host tools. That might be it.
We're being told that the recording is in progress. Is that?
Yeah, I think it is in progress, Mark.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. All right.
Yep.
Never mind.
Yep.
Never mind. Sorry.
And Dennis, just let me know when you're ready for me to pull up your slide presentation.
Okay, we'll do. What I'd like to do is, again, thank you for having us. I'd like to introduce Sarah again, Sarah Moran, to tell you about the proposal. And again, we hope this is the beginning of the long-awaited turnaround of the marketplace. Interesting. I will just a little bit of background. They are in other parts of the Commonwealth, more notably the central part of the state, but in Boston, they have another iconic location at the Prudential Center, where they are the beer garden establishment on the lawn of the Prudential Center shopping area. So they're making a big footprint in Boston, and this, of course, will be the biggest of all. So I'd like to again introduce Sarah from Treehouse to tell you about herself and the proposal.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dennis. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. It was wonderful to hear about all of the amazing efforts of Boston Police Department. So it's been great to listen in on this meeting thus far. I do have a really short and brief, short and sweet slide deck. I think it's maybe 3 slides. If someone has that, wants to throw that up, we could just talk through it a little. I'm not sure who's in charge of that.
Can everyone see that on the screen?
Nope.
I have a question. Where in Faneuil Hall is this located?
I've got that in the presentation.
Yeah, we're not seeing it yet.
Okay, hold on just a second. Just a second.
The green
Yep.
button.
Yep.
Perfect.
Got it.
There it
There we go.
is.
Yep.
So, Treehouse Brewing Company, we are in, I guess, 3 states now. So we have 7 locations across 3 states. We started in a little tiny Brimfield, Massachusetts, and then Munson, and our flagship brewery is in Charlton. We have locations in Western Mass, in South Deerfield. We are in Greater Boston, up in Tewksbury. We're right in Sandwich on a coastal dune on Cape Cod. We have a farm in Woodstock, Connecticut. It is a working farm. And then we have a brewery and tap room in Saratoga Springs. And then Dennis mentioned we also have a location at the Prudential Center. We're pretty excited about what we're proposing to do at Faneuil Hall. I understand there's been a lot of talk about the turnaround of Faneuil Hall Marketplace. I do not presume to speak on behalf of the owner, but I can say that they've been really, really intentional about trying to work with Massachusetts-based brands. And because so much is happening in Boston this summer, it's just going to be a summer of such great celebration that we wanted to be part of that excitement. So you can go ahead and flip to the next slide. So as I said, unprecedented summer of celebration between the World Cup and tall ships and the 250th. So we wanted to be part of that excitement. And it seems like the epicenter of Boston is at Faneuil Hall. So one of the things that we're excited about with this seasonal activation is to be able to not only cater to all of the visitors from around the country and around the globe, but also attract people from the neighborhood, such as yourself. So we're going to have an outdoor only activation. And I believe the question came up. If anybody remembers, if you're staring at the front of a Quincy Market to the right of it, for years there was a storefront for Cheers, it was a replica bar Cheers. We're not doing anything inside, but that kind of base of where that Cheers location was is where our staff area and backstock. In front of that, we will have our beer garden, and we're looking forward to activating all summer. So on premises, like draft beer pours and then canned cocktails. We also have a host of non-alcoholic offerings, such as non-alcoholic seltzers, cold brews, lattes, basically something from everyone. And that's what's going to be served there. For off premises, you will also be able to purchase packaged beverages to go in a walk-up fashion, right from the beer garden there. Our operations are going to be 7 days a week. We are looking forward to starting when the weather is reasonably reliably warm, and we're going to operate through the end of September, and hopefully the weather will shine well upon us and it'll still be quite active, and possibly we'll be going through October. We like to be outside, so and our hours of operations are really going to vary depending on the weather and the demand, but we intend to be pretty consistent whenever we can. Treehouse is not a late night operator. That's not what we do. We're more the place you start the day or start your evening, not where you end your evening. If you flip to the next slide, I can show you the actual plan. So I don't know how big everyone's computer is here, but you'll see to plan south on the left-hand side, that's our cold storage, and it's kind of a longer rectangle there. That's our cold storage, and that's where draft beers will be poured out of. You can also buy packaged beverages to go that cannot be consumed on site. It's for you to take back to your apartment. And that's really a piece we expect we're going to be catering to the local neighborhood and people that are visiting by foot. The rest of it is going to be a mix of standing and seating tables. So if you look at this, you'll see the rounds are round table. Those are standing, and the larger circle around them is an umbrella. So we're going to have a whole bunch of umbrellas, and we try to make things look pretty aesthetically pleasing. And then all those rectangles and little squares are chairs there. So at peak occupancy, and we're, wouldn't know what to expect, about 600 people could be inside of this beer garden, so considerably smaller of an area than the South Garden at the Prudential Center. But we think that there's kind of a different guest depending on what neighborhood and what the use is. So we're really looking forward to attracting folks from Boston in the immediate surrounding. As I said, outdoor only, no one's coming inside, and yeah, we're really excited to be part of it. So I can take some questions. I'll do my best. This is pretty early, but this is the plan that we have.
Thank you, Sarah. And I'm going to keep the plan up on the screen for the time being in case folks have questions about.
Yeah, this is Mark. I'm sorry. I just can't figure out where this is.
So
South,
if you are facing Quincy Market, and Faneuil Hall is right behind you, so you're facing the columns of the Quincy Market
okay.
building.
Okay,
That's the center building. We are on the right side there, which I believe is the south side of it, and we would be starting kind of at the edge of the Quincy Market building and going. We don't go as far as to the rotunda, but it's all outdoors on that walkway there.
so between the central building and the south building at the Faneuil Hall end of the marketplace, that is the side closest to City Hall. So if you're backing in as to Faneuil Hall, it's right hand, top right hand corner.
So there's a huge amount of pedestrian traffic that goes through that area. How does all of the seating and the pedestrian traffic not end up colliding?
So this plan, forgive me if it seems misleading, but this isn't even half of, I guess, the thoroughfare here. So we don't come out into the other half of that.
I see.
And everything here is movable.
I see. Okay.
So there's nothing permanent about it. So any egress, we'll be completely compliant with that.
And in the actual pedestrian corridor, there are granite benches, sort of granite blocks that serve as benches, and I walk through there almost daily. So
gotcha.
Are there any bathroom facilities in this?
Good question.
Can't hear
you
you.
hear the question? Suzanne asked if there are any restrooms in the facility as opposed to just the ones that are downstairs.
Oh, no, that this is an outdoor only activation. So any of the bathrooms that are available to the public and the overall Faneuil Hall marketplace are what would be used for this, but we're just a beer garden outside.
And you are unclear as to your hours of operation?
Yeah, can you clarify about the hours of operation?
Sure. Our plan is probably going to be generally 10 to 9, but there will be some times when it would make sense to open a little earlier. The latest we would possibly ever be would be at 11 o'clock, and that's just depending on catering to what's going on at the center.
And a question, any food service at all? Any snacks in addition to the beverages?
Haven't planned that out yet. We think that there's a great host of food options in the food hall there. So most of our locations, we have pizza concept, Trios Pizza, but that's not the part of the plan here. Plenty of options, and folks can, wherever they get their clam chowder, what have you, can bring it in and eat it on our beer garden.
And music or no music?
I think that there's the ownership of Faneuil Hall probably has a whole bunch of activity planned there, but no, I think that there's music in the center, but we're not hosting any bands or anything like that. Is
there an entrance per se, like a host desk where people check in?
Yep.
People aren't just wandering in, right? I mean, there's sort of is there a perimeter
Absolutely. Yep.
stanchions or something? Yeah, okay.
Yep. So we have stanchions, the entirety of the perimeter, and a whole bunch of signage and staff that states no alcohol consumption beyond this point. So we keep it in our perimeter, and there is a place that people check in. Everyone will be ID'd, and everyone who comes in the beer garden will have a bracelet. So you're green if you're above 21, and you're, I don't know, orange or whatever alternate color they choose if you are not. We have an impeccable record in terms of responsible alcohol service. Every single person at Treehouse Brewing Company is responsible alcohol service certified. So we take that very, very seriously.
One question I have is I know previously at Treehouse you guys used to limit the amount of drinks. Will there be any limits here, or again you'll just use that training to judge?
No, that's a great question, and it comes out a lot. Yes, we absolutely use our training to judge. You will find when you come experience Treehouse that we have true service professionals that are incredibly enthusiastic and protective of the brand. So there's no one guest that we would jeopardize our standing with responsible alcohol service. The drink limits started out of not having enough product. We had one location, and this is going back, and we would have to limit folks because we would want everyone to be able to try Treehouse and the lines not to be, down the street. Since then, we've gotten so much more efficient. We've had technology gains, and then also we have 7 locations, so it's not all in one funnel. So we've been able to, because we're able to serve more people and the lines is not an issue anymore, we don't restrict that. All restrictions are based on our responsible alcohol service training.
Any other questions for Ms. Moran or from Dennis?
Matthew, I'd just be remiss to say the Greenway adjudicates, beer and drinkery offerings on a pretty regular basis. Treehouse is probably the most sterling reputation in the entire Commonwealth. I mean, only second really to independent brewers like Trillium. So I think it's just an outstanding company we brought into the Wharf.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thanks,
saying
Chris.
that.
An endorsement from Chris Cook.
Well, in a non-Greenway site. So.
Yeah.
High praise.
Thank God we're changing our concept this year.
All right. The ask then?
Question.
Oh, please.
Regarding your liquor license, normally there are liquor licenses that go to 2 in the morning. Dennis, maybe this is a question for you. Is this what you're requesting?
Suzanne had a hard time hearing you.
She's asking about the liquor license. Does it go into, most liquor licenses go into like 2 a.m.? What is the liquor license that you're putting in for?
I think based upon what Sarah just said, it would probably be safest to ask for a midnight closing hour,
Okay.
just to be protected with all the events going on this summer. But if they're planning to close at 10 or 11, again, most places just tack on a little extra time just to be on the safe side. And I think this summer with events and parties and things of that nature for the World Cup, the 250th, the tall ships, I think they should I think the marketplace would prefer to have activity later if possible. So probably, Sarah, I'd say ask for a midnight. All licenses are able to open as early as 8 a.m. Again, I think midnight is probably what we're looking at with the realistic sense that it'll be closed many nights by 10 or 11.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I said, we're not the place you end the night.
Right.
So presumably you're looking for a letter of support from the Wharf District Council. Is that correct?
We'd love to have one. We've reached out to the mayor's office, and their basic request was to meet with Wharf District and report back to them. And if you folks are okay with it, our hope is that they would not require an abutters meeting. Given that the whole marketplace has licenses and has been licensed for generations. So that's our desire. So we're really hopeful that you are able to do so and would be greatly appreciated. There's obviously a time crunch to try to get everything operational by the time
Sure.
Whenever summer arrives, that we're able to activate the location.
So what we do is vote on the letter of support tonight, so you'll know tomorrow, which I don't see a problem, but just, we will do a vote tonight on it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis and Sarah.
Thank you both.
Yes, thank you
All
both.
right.
Thank you,
Thanks for
everyone.
putting us, thanks for putting us on. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Of course. So I know that Caroline is here from Conventures and Sail Boston, and Luke Hines. Oh, there's Luke. Luke Hines.
Yeah.
That's all right. And also, for sure, realize this is not.
We haven't needed it.
No, they didn't.
That's why they
We've tried for years. Yeah, so they are like trillion. I think they are. Thank you.
Yep. Here, will you pass this down to those nice folks?
Yeah, they have that.
Sorry about that.
Great.
Just added the owl microphone to the proceedings. Great. So we have folks from Conventures and a bunch of folks here to talk about Sail Boston and the tall ships. And Luke from the city is here. There he is. Yeah.
Maybe I could just say hello first. I don't know if that's Carolina and Mike.
Please.
So hi everyone, good to see you all. My name is Luke Hines, City of Boston Mayor's Office, helping to plan for some of the major events that we have coming to the city this summer. Very exciting summer. Obviously, we all know that the World Cup is coming. We're in the midst of the 250th anniversary of the country, but another really exciting event that we have is Sail Boston, or the tall ships that are going to be here in July. So I won't be doing much of the presenting, but here to answer any questions on the city's half of things. But just want to say that on behalf of the mayor's office, we've been working very closely with Conventures and Howard St. Hudson, the transportation consultant. BPD I know is on the call, but the plans that you'll see today in terms of street closures that we want to present have been very well coordinated between Howard St. Hudson, but also the Boston Police Department, Mass State Police, other public safety agencies. The goal of this is to not just have a really exciting event, but also a safe event, and make sure that all residents across the city get to enjoy the opportunities that this summer has to offer, and our businesses take advantage of the economic impact. So with that, I'll pass it over to Caroline and Mike, but just really appreciate your guys' time. And if there's anything we can do from a city's perspective, just feel free to let us know.
Thank you, Luke. And I do have a few slides.
Yep.
And I will be leaving a stack of business cards here, just in case you don't have time to get to any questions. Please feel free to contact me so I can get you into answers that you may need. We can go to the.
Everyone see the slide on the Zoom?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Are you able to zoom in a little bit more? Like,
Um,
right? I think it's pretty good now.
Yeah, let me get the slideshow. Yeah.
So just some background about Sail Boston. We're a nonprofit that's governed by a board of directors. We have been producing tall ship events since 1992. The most recent tall ship event was 2017. And this summer's event is tracking to be very similar in size and scale to 2000, as we're expecting over 60 tall ships in Boston this summer. Sail Boston has very strong support of the mayor, the city, as well as the Commonwealth and the governor, so we're very grateful for that support. Sail Boston is part of a larger group called Sail 250, which is 5 ports that came together to celebrate America's 250th this summer. So we're working very closely with New Orleans is having their event at the end of next month, Norfolk, Baltimore, New York, and then Sail Boston, July 11th through 16th. I feel like we've mentioned this a few times already tonight, but we show this to show everything that's going on this summer with the World Cup matches in June, of course, the 4th of July, and then our event really kicks off on the 10th, and the ships will be in port through the 16th. This is our event schedule at a glance. So we have the tall ships will be arriving out in their anchorages on July 10th. There will also be an opening ceremony at Boston Harbor Hotel. The U.S. Navy will actually be arriving in port on July 9th, once the thing reception that evening on the 10th. And then the 11th is our marquee event, which is the Parade of Sail. So that it's a big event, and the street impact maps that we'll show you later on are specific to Saturday Parade of Sail Day. After the Parade of Sail, the intent is for the ships to be open for public boarding through their time here on Wednesday. So Sail Boston is free and open to the public. So if you get on the tall ships, it's free and open to the public. We will have, fireworks on Saturday and Wednesday. On Monday, we're doing a crew into that street parade. So the visiting ships, some of them have marching bands, otherwise it's just a marching group. Each ship will have participation in a parade that's kicking off in the seaport and ending at Christopher Columbus Park. In honor of the World Cup on Tuesday, we're doing a soccer tournament with some of the participating ship soccer teams. And then the ships are leaving on Thursday, the 16th. There's no parade of sail on the 16th, so it's not a spectacle. It's Sail Boston working with maritime traffic to get the ships out safely. So I'm just going to run through quickly the expected flagships that we'll have here in the number. These are two new additions to the fleet. The Alyssa is representing the U.S. as well as the Spirit of Bermuda from Bermuda. We have the Libertad from Argentina, the Buenos 2 from Canada, the Esmeralda from Chile, the Gloria from Colombia, Picton Castle from Cook Islands, the Juan Bautista Cambiaso from the Dominican Republic, the Guaya from Ecuador, the Borch from Germany, the Ernestina, which is a U.S. or the Massachusetts state ship that has very strong ties to Cabo Verde, Sudoshini from India, the Marigo Vespucci from Italy, the Oyster Shell from Netherlands, Union from Peru, the Darmstadt from Poland, the Sagres from Portugal, the Murcia from Romania, the Gladden from Sweden, the Captain Miranda from Uruguay. The USS Constitution will be leading our parade of sail, followed by the U.S. Coast Guard Bark Eagle. Two additional U.S. ships, the Kalmar Nickel and Mayflower 2. Mass Maritime Academy is sending the Patriot State, which will be berthed at 88 Black Falcon. The Royal Navy sending a daring defense destroyer. And the U.S. Navy is also sending a San Antonio class LPG ship. So those are the expected flagships. There's many more smaller B's and C ships that are coming, but as I said, we're expecting just over 60 ships total at this time. Friday, the tall ships will be arriving up to their anchorage point. So you can see those red dots on the screen. Each will have an assigned anchorage point right near Nahant. These are parade of sail spectator anchorage zones. So working very, very closely with the Coast Guard and the Harbor Minister to identify spectator anchorage zones for the parade of sail day. So these will open the day before, and then they will be strictly enforced starting at 8 a.m. on Saturday, July 11th. So once the boat is in these anchorages, they cannot leave for the entirety of the parade of sail for safety of the participating tall ships. So the only ships that will be moving during this time are the tall ships and any law enforcement vessels. This is the parade of sail route. The tall ships will start at the staging area and cross the starting line at 15-minute intervals, and it's about an hour and a half till they get to the turnaround point in Charleston. This is just a closer look at where the turnaround location is. This is the berthing locations at a glance. So the red indicates where ships will be berthed. So we will have, as I mentioned, the Patriot State and the LPD from the Navy at Black Falcon. The Royal Navy will have their ship at the South Jetty. Then moving over, you'll see there's the highest concentration of ships in the seaport, Pier 5. We're building a guard system next to Pier 5, which is called Wharf 8. The Fish Pier, the Commonwealth Pier, Fan Pier, Courthouse Dock. We'll have two ships at Rhodes Wharf, and then Charlestown Navy Yard. This is the steady state boat traffic pattern that will be in place after the parade sale through the 15th. So any spectator boats on the water will follow this pattern. This is dictated by the Coast Guard for the safety of everyone. So any foreign boats or small personal craft will follow this pattern for the week. As I mentioned, we'll have fireworks on Saturday and Wednesday. This is the bar's location. It's right off of the Fan Pier. And the parade route kicking off at the Leader Bank Pavilion, and we'll end at Christopher Columbus Park. It's a really, really beautiful, colorful event. We definitely recommend checking this out. We're still in the process of getting this 100% signed off on, but this is the intended route for the parade.
And that's what day?
That is Monday, July 13th.
July 13th. And those streets will be closed.
Yes, they'll be closed on a rolling basis for the parade.
The parade is at noon, so we're hoping that that will be a time where it won't be as big of an impact as if it was at 6 p.m. during rush hour traffic.
This is the map for the route. So on the following slide, we'll have maps of the north end and the Wharf area. These are the prohibited items that will not be allowed through the checkpoint on parade or sale day. As Luke mentioned, the following maps and this list have been worked with very, very closely with all of our law enforcement partners. So this is the list of the prohibited items, the allowed items. This will be on our website. But now I'm going to hand it over to Mike to kind of walk us through the impact map for parade of sale day, for Saturday, July 11th.
Hey everyone, Michael White with Howard Stein Hudson. We are the transportation consultants for Sail Boston Adventures. So the map you see on your screen, I think it's already been said multiple times. These impacts are only on Saturday, July 11th, the day of the parade of sale. We have worked very closely with law enforcement, first responders, city, anyone you can think of that this will impact agency-wise to develop these regulations. You can see on this map, the red line represents the secure area. So anywhere from the east side of Atlantic Avenue to the waterfront will be considered a secure area. That is, any access will be gated. You have to go through a security checkpoint in order to get in there. This is where those prohibited items come into play. You won't be able to get through that checkpoint with any of those prohibited items. So you can see in the Wharf district here, we have 5 different security checkpoints. The secure area extends all the way from Seaport Boulevard up into the North End neighborhood. We don't anticipate to take very much parking along Atlantic Avenue. We are considering converting existing on-street parking into handicap parking for the parade of sale day only, just so we can get those ADA passengers as close to the viewing areas as possible.
Great idea.
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
May I? Is there an allowance made as yet for tour bus groups that get picked up and dropped off and picked up because there are, ongoing viewing cruises that are going on? I know in years past, tour buses were dropping off by Christopher Columbus Park and then groups walking down, to Long Wharf North.
Sure. So there are obviously dedicated tour bus pickup drop-off locations along Atlantic Avenue. As far as I'm aware, correct me if I'm wrong, those will still be active on the day of the parade of sale. Those pickup drop-off locations, they will obviously be on the exterior of the secure area, so no pickup drop-off is going to be occurring within that secure area. We are also contemplating private shuttles that will pick up passengers from outside of the Boston area and bring them into Boston, trying to reduce that number of single passenger vehicle trips into Boston on that day. Those drop-off areas have not yet been designated, but we are still working with the city and our contractor to pick those areas and make it as limited of an impact as possible.
I would just flag that many of those groups are elderly and have mobility issues.
Sure.
With wheelchairs, walkers, scooters, I mean, all kinds of things. And, you know, if those folks can be dropped off as close as possible, it's just a really long walk.
Sure.
Down to that area. So just a thought.
Okay. Yeah, we will definitely keep that in mind, and potentially we can coordinate with our private contractor to pick up drop-off areas as well.
Okay. Can I ask a clarification question, please? I know that when there is these streets are closed for a parade or something like that, it becomes difficult, if not impossible, to cross Atlantic Avenue, which means that you can't get out of the parking lots. Is that what you're proposing here?
Atlantic Ave will not be closed. No, it'll still be entirely open
Gotcha.
to public travel.
Okay.
And,
Gotcha.
Okay, getting back to that handicap parking locations, we are thinking of converting some of them closer to Seaport Boulevard or existing loading zones for some of the commercial developments that exist there. The ones closer to East India Row are 2-hour parking metered spaces. Those will be bagged by either the city or BPD and converted to that handicap parking zone. These on-street parking restrictions will go into effect Friday night before Saturday at like 11:59, so right before Saturday begins. BPD will be out there tagging and towing vehicles if they are remained in that parking spot. There will be signage out prior to that telling people they can't park there that night or the following day.
I'm sorry, it looks like she's trying to get in, sorry. That door sticks.
A few other things to point out on the map here. There are multiple vendor locations within the secure area. These will be, we'll talk a little bit more to this, but those will be regulated by the city. And we also are showing a few blue bike locations that are within the secure zone. The bikes in those stations will likely be removed as bicycles are not allowed within the secure zone. We are contemplating providing temporary blue bike racks elsewhere to replace those blue bikes that are in that zone being removed. And again, as it's already been discussed, there are a couple of viewing areas, Rose Wharf, Columbus Park, and Long Wharf will all be publicly accessible viewing areas once you make it through those checkpoints. The next slide kind of just summarizes everything I just talked about. We are showing road closures on Long Wharf and East India Row. That does mean if you park your personal vehicle in any of the garages, I believe there's a garage up East India Row. It will be challenging to get your car out on Parade of Sale Day. If you do not want to be stuck there, I suggest moving your car to the street the night before. And sure. I would say Mike hit it right on the head. These restrictions will go in the night before at 11:59, but they will be removed at 6 p.m. the day of Parade of Sale. So the main impact should only be from that Saturday. But as Mike mentioned, if there is a need to get your vehicle out, or there's a circumstance of why you would need a vehicle, these are kind of the purpose of these community conversations. We want to engage folks early on, and if we need to work with law enforcement for a specific situation, just find me after the meeting. So. Okay. Next slide, please. So this is basically the same thing, just for the North End neighborhood. The secure area will extend from Atlantic Avenue all the way up to Battery Wharf. We are taking much more on-street parking in the North End and converting it into handicap parking for that same reason, to get those ADA passengers as close to the viewing areas as possible. There are 2 additional security checkpoints along Atlantic Avenue in this North End neighborhood. 3 of them on Columbus Park we had already talked about for the Wharf District. So 2 additional ones up at Fleet Street and Battery Street. Additional vending locations
and Lewis Wharf, Pilot House Park, and Sergeant's Wharf will also be publicly accessible areas. This is, again, just a summary. No specific road closures, no public road closures. Some of the private access along Atlantic Avenue, between Atlantic Avenue and the waterfront there, will be restricted access. Same parking restriction goes into effect Friday night at 11:59. As we said, it'll end 6 p.m. on Saturday. And that is it for me.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you have any estimate on the volume of people that are going to be descending into this area?
This area in particular, no. Past the Boston event, we don't have the slide, but I believe it was 7 million over the course of the 6 days that it was. That's all we have to put back to
That would be the city. So the city, just a short on the vending program. So the city put out an RFP for food and merchandise vending locations for the parade of sale event. The sale Boston events that includes the 11th and then through the 16th. These are like food and merchandise opportunities, such as a food truck or somebody that is selling ice cream or water bottles. Wanted to make sure that there were these economic opportunities for small local businesses. So the city issued an RFP for one umbrella contract, and we awarded it to a minority women-owned business named the Social Butterflies. And right now, the Social Butterflies is working with subcontractors that are small local businesses from different neighborhoods to fill those vending opportunities. And again, this was just one of the ways that the city was an opportunity to tap into the economic opportunities. Okay, have you reached out to the clients? Okay, yeah. So why don't we connect after this and get you in touch with them all totally. Okay, great. Yeah.
Question. Particularly the week schedule. Is it available online yet?
some of the public events are, and then this presentation will be available at the end of next week, where you can have all the maps and everything ready to go on the website.
Saleboston.com.
Yes. And we'll also have a mobile app that will be launched with all of our updates as well.
Anything more, Mike, on MBTA, any of this? This is just for folks' information.
This is just amplifying or showing that the MBTA will be running additional service on Freedom Hill Day to accommodate the additional crowd.
And we are still in communication and working with the MBTA and other agencies to really finalize all of those routes. But the MBTA, the ride, and our private contractor will be offering shuttle service in and around the Boston area on the freight sale.
All stations remain.
Correct. Yep, we're not closing any MBTA, any public provided entity whatsoever.
You mentioned information about the areas in the water on Saturday or that.
Saturday from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. there will be no water taxis. The harbor is strictly shut down for the freight hill, but for the remainder, Sunday through Wednesday, they'll resume
On Saturday, are there ferries to be available for this?
From Hingham, Hall, so forth? No. Okay.
nothing during the day.
Well, very informative, and we'll look forward to getting all the details wrapped up. But thank you for a very comprehensive discussion, and 36 slides done pretty quickly. So, thank you very much.
Matthew, will that slide deck be available for everyone on the Wharf District Council
I
website?
believe when it's finalized.
When it's finalized, yes.
Meaning the end of
Next week, yes.
You hear that,
Thank
Joanne?
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, thank you all very much. We're going to move right along to. Oh, you're welcome. Pleasure. Yay. Oh, of course.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
So we're going to transition over to, there's a wireless installation proposal at 36-44 Broad Street. And who will be presenting on that? I don't have a name down here.
I will.
Oh, Michael.
Jaimon. Yes.
Oh, hi, Michael. Welcome. Nice to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Verizon's outside counsel with Robinson and Cole. Oh,
sorry. Hold on just one second.
Sure.
I need to stop sharing or get rid of what's on the screen here. One second. Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of that. There we go. All right, Michael, take it away.
Thanks very much. So, Verizon is seeking relief from the Board of Appeals to install a rooftop wireless facility at the 36 Broad Street building. It's sometimes called the Insurance Exchange Building. It's on the block that's surrounded by Broad, Central, India, and Milk Street. We're here to briefly describe the project to you, answer any questions you may have, and hopefully receive support for the project. I'm going to, I think my colleague's going to share a screen if she can.
I've got it here, I believe.
Do you have it? Okay. Oh, great, good. So that shows you where the site is,
Yes, let me do that. 1 second.
Sure.
Hold on. Actually, this is
Yeah, there's a couple of slides before that one. Should be.
Oh, there's another one before that. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, got out of whack here. 1 second.
That's okay.
There we go.
So there's. Oops. There you go. You can move to the next one. Thanks. So that's just an aerial view of the building. If you move ahead 2 more slides, just to try to make this efficient. That's the relief we're looking for. There's a map with some colored outlines coming up next, I think. There we go. Okay, so the purpose of this facility is to improve wireless service on the Verizon network in the target area, which is the area that's hashed in the map below, the black outlined area. And the way it will do that is both by providing the service in that area on the rooftop, but also by offloading some of the demand on the adjacent sites. So it should improve service in the areas that are shaded orange, as well as the areas that are shaded pink, which right now are forced to cover that downtown area near the Broad Street facility. So the point is, there's just a lot of demand on the Verizon network in downtown Boston, and this is part of their project to try to improve the wireless service in those areas. We go on to the next slides, and I can just describe what the facility would entail. So this shows you just from the rooftop view, the little circles there, the black dots show where the antenna installations will be. And if you move through to the next slide, I think.
All right, 1 second.
Yeah.
Here we go.
There we go. Okay. Scroll down a tiny bit so we can. There we go. Good. So the circles outlined in yellow that you can see, there's 3 sectors of those. Those are the antennas that Verizon would propose to install. So 2 of those sectors, the one facing Milk Street and the one facing Broad Street at the bottom of the screen, those would each have 4 antennas installed in 3 cylinders, which are white. They call them canisters, but they're basically white enclosures that are round and in this case attached to the back of the parapet, and they would be erected above the parapet because the wireless signal has to have a clear view to propagate out into the area. The 3rd sector of antennas is on the penthouse, which are those other 3 circles in the left middle of the screen, and those are facing the other 2 directions. So all sides of this building will have service, signals sending out from all sides of this building to improve coverage in all directions. And like I said, to offload those adjacent wireless sites. The area with the green square shows you there'll be some equipment installed on the rooftop that's set back a considerable distance from the edge of the roof. It's on a low platform, and it consists of what they call cabinets, which have radio and switching and battery equipment in them. And that's it. There's no real other aspect to this outside the building. The inside of the building would provide the communications, the fiber connections, and the electrical connections. If you want to scroll through the rest of the plans, I can describe what we're looking at. But basically, this is just an elevation view showing where those antennas would be located in those canisters. I think probably the most illustrative way to do this would be towards the end of this presentation. We have some photo simulations showing the building and then the canisters on the building. And then I'm happy to answer any questions. So this is, let's go to the next one. I can do the before and after view. Okay, this shows you where the photos were taken from with the site in green in the middle. There were a couple of photos taken on Water Street, along Broad Street, the corner of Milk and Broad, and then one from over on Cross Street. Let's do the next one. So this is the view of the building from Water Street. And if you scroll down to the next slide, there. Oh, you just passed it.
All right.
Sorry, that's okay.
There we go.
That would show you a representation of the canisters at the edge of the behind the parapet at that location with the antennas. We can go on to the next slide. That's a view from Milk Street, I believe, or Milk and Broad. And let's see the next.
Broad.
Yeah. And there we go. And that's a view from that distance at that angle. We can go to the next slide. This is looking from, I guess it's Cross Street. And following slide, you can see those are on the roof of that.
How high are those canisters?
Excuse me?
How high are they?
How high are they? They are 8 feet tall. So they are they're mounted at the top level of the parapet, but behind the parapet. And then the antennas are inside those cylinders. And the cylinders are 8 feet tall. There are also 3 on the penthouse. I think those are the penthouse ones you're looking at now. So that black square beneath it is the rooftop penthouse on that building with the equipment and the staircase.
So rising above the penthouse is how many feet?
It is, again, 8 feet above the penthouse.
So those canisters are each 8 feet from the roof of the penthouse.
They're actually mounted on the outside of the penthouse. They're mounted to pipes on the outside of the penthouse that are flush with the penthouse, and the canisters go above. This is a view from Broad and Water Street. And if you go to the next view, from that angle, they're really not visible above the edge. Likewise, from this angle at Milk Street and Broad. And then this is the final view I think we have. And you can see the sector of antennas there. And that's really the gist of it. The equipment is going to be as disguised as we can make it inside those canisters. It's necessary to provide service given all the increased demand for wireless services in the area. And this is a good building for it because it gets a good deal of height and offloads 2 very busy existing facilities that are, in the case of the one called Central Artery, trying to cover the surface artery rather, and in the case of the other one, Post Office Square, trying to cover a large area of downtown.
I do have a question, Matthew, if I may.
Yeah.
So, I don't ever remember hearing about an application for wireless towers or canisters, whatever you want to call them. And, but there have to be a ton of them. Or we wouldn't have the cell service that we do. So, are you aware of, Michael, of the other places where there are canisters and or other kinds of wireless facilities?
I mean, there are quite a few of them downtown on buildings.
There gotta be, right? I mean, they gotta be all
Right.
over the place. So
Yes.
why is it that no one has come to us before, or why is it you are coming at this point? Other than we appreciate it.
Yeah, no, well, we're coming because that's the process that the Board of Appeals uses to speak with the neighborhood and provide information to the neighborhoods. The Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services assisted us with getting in touch with you, and so here we are.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we appreciate it. It's weird. They're all over the place, and we had a chance to talk about it.
Mark, it's now part of the community process. I don't know when that all started. They're coming to us through the city as part of the community process.
Any other questions? How interesting.
Yeah.
I found it very interesting. Any questions for anyone on the Zoom call for Mr. Giaimo? Anybody in the room? Okay, so Michael, you're requesting a letter of support?
If you're willing to do that, yes. Good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. We will discuss that in our closed meeting after this call.
Sounds
and
good.
Next up, we have Tom Miller is here, I know, in the room, and about a restaurant at 125 Broad Street. I'm sorry?
The audio now. When you choose audio on your Zoom,
Okay.
I think you're choosing something wrong there. Oh yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. Oh, here's Meeting Owl 3.
Yes.
So the owl's not working.
It was not.
Okay. Hopefully, you're going to be able to hear better, you folks on the Zoom call.
It's all working fine.
Okay, great. All right. So we have Tom Miller here, and other folks, you can introduce yourselves, please.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for hosting us again. My name is Tom Miller from McDermott Copeland Hamlin here in Boston. I'm joined by the team from 125 Broad Street LLC, 125. Anthony Rothke, one of the owners, and Nando Sicilio. Yeah, I have enough trouble with English. We start going Italian, and it goes haywire. Like I said, thank you for having us back again tonight. We have some information, should be a PDF or Google Drive, obviously.
Yes, let me just pull that.
But we've kind of developed out the proposal a little bit more, taking into account some information we got from you guys last time and from our butter meeting which was held previously. And we want to kind of talk through this again with you guys, show you a little bit more of what's going on, and go from there. So if you want to, we have a couple slides before that one.
Okay.
So just last time, just to make sure everybody's on the same page as to where we are. This is on Broad Street. It is one of the original buildings. I don't know which it's built, but it's on the south side of Broad Street, 125. The next one kind of shows you the facade of the building. Here we are picking up that narrow space. It's the one to the lower left of the 125, right? To the right. To the right. Okay, it's the one with the sign to the right of 125, that very narrow entranceway. Note over a little bit more, but it's so, and then just that kind of puts us in place. The next slide talks a little bit about the concept here. As I talked about last time, the concept is an upscale neighborhood restaurant with a blend of Italian and American dishes, mix of large and small plates. The small plates in Italian is spaghetti. This menu and this concept was developed with Anthony Nando and Chef Michael Pawlowski. Just for those of you who aren't aware of Michael, he is a multi-award-winning chef, including he's a James Beard Award-winning chef for Best Chef Northeast, and he also won Food and Wine's Best New Restaurant for Radius. So he has extensive experience in the industry, really knows how to develop a food-focused concept, which is what this is. The space is going to be built out. So we have here a floor plan, which we didn't have last time, but we have a developed our floor plan here. It is on 2 floors, as you can see. And as you remember from that facade picture, it is a very narrow space. So that space is really filled up with seating. To the right of screen, we have the first floor, which has about 70 seats, 69 seats between the bar and the tables, and a private dining room in that upper area. And the lower area, which is, Anthony and his team are calling it the speakeasy. It is, all filled up with seating. It's also mechanical space for the building, some backup house, and a bar, kitchen. So it's a mix of spaces and uses. So, and if you scroll down here, you'll kind of see the concept here, which is it's a warm and inviting space that's thoughtfully designed. It is, as I said, and you'll probably hear me say it a couple more times, it's very food focused, it's very food centric. This is a restaurant. And it will have a full service bar with a curated wine and cocktail selection, and draft and bottled beers. The focus here is you guys and the residents of this area. This is not meant as a destination spot, people coming in, like say, I don't know, Treehouse Brewery in the marketplace. It is meant to service the people who live and work in the area. The proposed hours here are 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. It gives somebody a space coming, after work or coming home from a long day or a long shift, a place to stop, get a good meal, maybe enjoy a drink in a nice, relaxing, inviting space. The kitchen is open from when they unlock the doors to when they lock. There will be a menu and food available at all hours. Kitchen doesn't close. As we talked about last time, there will be background music and I still haven't gotten a better an ambiance DJ, because it sounds better than vibes DJ. And get myself off of that description, but it's a DJ for ambiance. It will allow Anthony, Nando, and the team to curate the way the music plays and feel by song by song. So it will allow them to just really cater to the night, the evening, and the mood. As you saw in the floor plan, there is no dance floor, there's no proposed live music. This is solely allowing them to curate the way in which they play and not rely solely on Spotify or Muzak or one of the other providers to create the playlist for them. They can do it themselves in that regard. It does also create a visual feeling that raises the elevation of the space, showing that they're really hands-on and curating the space together.
The DJ is upstairs or down?
Upstairs.
Upstairs.
So I know one of the concerns here was noise mitigation and the way in which that will affect the neighborhood. There are no windows. There's only the front entrance. So the space is right now completely empty, completely gutted. It's going to be completely built out with Anthony keeping in mind how the noise emanates from the space for a couple of reasons. One is because he does not want to, he's not creating a space that will be a nuisance. He wants people to come and enjoy it. The other reason is he owns the building. Both he and his other partner own units in the building. His other partner has the unit directly above us. So noise mitigation is key because they don't want to be bothered by their own space. They're creating a space for themselves, a place they want to come and enjoy, a place that they don't feel is currently available in the area. So the idea here is to create something that will be an amenity and does not negatively affect the neighborhood. You know, the focus here is to create a neighborhood restaurant place you can grab a drink and a bite to eat at pretty much any hour they're open, depending on your schedule and something that you're available and want to come enjoy. I can keep talking, but I think at this point, I don't know if you want to say a little bit. You can, you don't have to. But and then we'll happily answer questions instead of me just yammering.
Yes, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak. By way of background, I purchased a building about 2.5 years ago, and I converted the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh floor to fourth luxury residential. Really, really nice. And I can be I rented it. Honors the unit above the space, so it will be salvaged. I can guarantee that. It's supposed to be. I wanted a restaurant myself. I wanted something. Maybe we have. I'm older, so I found my own places that feel really old. And I want something that works. You know, that I feel comfortable coming in and having a great and a small bite. So we brought in Michael Schlau as a chef involved in our project. Day one. Helped develop the concept, the menu. We have caviar, crowd cocktails, and we created a small speakeasy downstairs. When I say speakeasy, I call it that because dark colors.
Here, come here.
Folks, mute, please. Please mute.
Who told you to go in there with that on? Who told you to do that?
Hold on a second. Hold on.
I think it's Dorothy.
Okay.
No.
You can mute. You can mute that person.
Okay, I think we're set.
No, what are you about?
Just a small intimate space. You go downstairs, you feel like helping on walkovers. I love that feel. That's the day. I rented a lot, that's why I went. My past the hours, I call it exciting. I don't feel like we have that box. I want to get old school type of space downstairs and things are like glass.
The guy in their 50s like that.
Exactly. And then on the second level, it's not a weekly change. You know, maybe one night a week or we might have ambiance music background to give it more of a high-end feel to cater to people that come in and have not just one way on the radio or Spotify. That's all that stuff that we we're not going to
A lot of music things.
correct. That's
not for early in the night. Background level,
all back. And I wanted something in the neighborhood, only building, and I wanted something that hungry. Go upstairs and eat, and I want something that works. Like I said, the units above, they're 3,000 square foot luxury for 3 units. I'm not going to create anything that's going to be bad. My goal or for the neighborhood. So and that's essentially why we did this project. I'm involved in other spaces throughout the city. We don't connect those spots. We do destination places. When I say destination places, I mean neighborhood destination places. This week, that's why we don't have a crazy name. Just 125. It's simple. That's it. 125. People are going to come to 125 Broad Street because they live in the area. That's why we did it that way. And that's why we created the second concept. Like if you look at the menu dishes, small plates, a lot of dishes, different types, pasta, caviar, American, Italian, a little bit of everything. That was the whole goal of the check. We're spending millions for this build up. I hate to say it. Just to have place. And for break even, I'd be happy. It's not done for that reason.
He's hoping you all come and help him break even.
And that's what I'm trying to do here.
Okay. Are you raising your hand? You were there. Go ahead.
This is a question for a great concept, love it. It'll be a modern time, so maybe we can check what the neighborhood, if you were trying to make it neighborhood destination, it can't be average price of $155.
Oh, definitely.
I don't want to see no, $37. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Always. And that's why you need some variance. Right? But $100 for state. See, that's just insane. It's going to be pointless.
That's the whole, you can count, yeah, it's a $40 but it's $100 value. Small plates, $25, $30 issues, similar to that. So we're doing small plates and we try to limit everything, still work with it. But that's the whole goal here. If it was about making money, I wouldn't be doing this thing. Just reality.
Thank you. Very good.
Anything else? Yeah, please.
Yeah, okay, so, Jackie, love,
First one? Yes, yes. I already get told the president, we're already started construction. The 10,000 is they said that was the so we expect to be done with the construction probably about, I would say 7 months. Y'all are ready? Yeah. And it's
Matthew, you got to get the microphone closer or something. We can't hear.
Yeah. Thank you. This has been great. And we will discuss the letter of support after this call. And sounds like a great addition, maybe from my standpoint.
One quick question, the outdoor seating?
Great. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, we have a guest who is here to introduce himself, Patrick Roth. Thank you all. Patrick Roth is there he is. Poor Patrick. Where should I go? Hey, right next to Suzanne would be good. We'll just sit. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Patrick.
Where's the video folks on Zoom?
It's in this.
Oh, it's in the.
Yeah. So Patrick Roth is here. He's a Boston lawyer. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Let me get rid of this. Sorry, guys. There we are. There's you. And yes, he's actually running for Congress in the 8th District, challenging the incumbent Stephen Lynch. And he's here just to introduce himself. Tell us about your campaign. Yeah, take it away.
Okay, great. Thank you, Matt. Thanks for having me. Thanks everyone. Thanks hi to everyone on Zoom. Yes, to see some friends in the room, folks that know along the way already. I'm Patrick Roth, running for the United States Congress here at the 8th Congressional District, where we are. I am the Democratic primary, which means I'm not the long time public here. This is a real vibe shift from the last conversations. I'm not looking for a letter of support. So I wanted to discuss in closed session.
Microphone as close as possible, please.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mark. But I did want to come by and say hi. I'm conscious of the agenda. We'll keep it really short. You can hear a little bit about me, why I wanted to come to this specific thing too. Look, I think there's a lot of us looking at our national politics, we're really concerned about what it is and where it's going. It's a scary time for a lot of people. We're going through a lot of changes that are really frightening. A lot of them from this White House right now. And I just think that requires that challenge, and the challenge of our future generations requires a different kind of thinking than what we've seen before. And maybe some different approaches than what we've seen for the last 10, 20, 30 years. We really haven't seen people do the same things a lot. I think it is healthy to have challenge in our system, have some fresh blood come through it. It's good to have people running these positions. And that more than anything is really what motivated me to kind of get off my butt and get into this race. And I'll give you a little bit about me. It sort of informs my story, why I'm doing this. Live in Jamaica Plains, took the orange line here, which worked great, which is nice if that happens. I have a 4-month-old daughter, which is new on the scene, for your parents. Dad here, it's something great. So we've got a condo in JP. Family roots on the South Shore. This congressional district, we're in it now, but it really goes down to Hingham, to Paul, and to Brockton, Braintree, Weymouth, a lot of the South Shore, in addition to a lot of Boston. And my mom was born in Brockton and was raised by a single mom in Braintree. Really ended up living that American dream story, found a job at IBM when they were just starting to hire women. Met my dad there when he got out of the Army. Army during Vietnam, and that company was there sort of really our family's way to middle class prosperity, just that very basic, normal American story. And I think that we have to keep replicating that for future generations of this country. That is so important that we get that right. My professional background, I got started working for Governor Patrick, who was talking a lot about those same things that were concerning me when I was in college. Worked for him, worked for President Obama briefly, and then I practiced law here in Boston for about a decade or so. At the law firm Ropes & Gray as a litigator, and then on nights and weekends was chairing Common Cause Massachusetts, working really hard on voting rights issues, democracy issues, trying to prove to people that what we have can still work and it's worth fighting for. You can participate, you can change it if you want. And it's that kind of approach that I want to take to Washington. You know, the things that really concern our communities right now, the things that are impeding progress to ensure that future generations can still tell that American food story. A lot of it has to do with how it affects the right? That's housing, that's childcare, really a personal issue right now. Healthcare costs, education costs. I love going into details, but I'm happy to, maybe not right now. I think we need to fix our politics too to fix some of those problems. So we're not taking corporate back money. So I do think we need term limits on members of Congress. And look, I just think we have a member here who's been there for 25 years. He's a very good guy, but he has not had an in-person town hall since 2019. Who's run for leadership in the caucus, 3 times and never succeeded. It's not been able to get a lot done in Washington over his tenure. So they're not particularly with him on a number of substantive things. He's the last Democratic Care Act. I just think that's the wrong decision. But more than that, this is about competence, about understanding the moment that we're in, and about showing up in our communities. And I wanted to show up here, very specifically, because I've been talking to a lot of folks in the room and a lot of folks who live in this about the threat that it exists right out there on our doorstep, and the threat of sea level rise to this community. And it's true across this congressional district, right? 47 miles, Boston is exposed to waterfront. A lot of that is in this district. And then I go all the way down to Hingham and Hull. It's really below sea level. So those rises really affect this district disproportionately. So I'm very focused on that from day one. I think we need a really strong, clear leader who prioritizes climate mitigation and resilience efforts, particularly along the waterfront. Really excited about some of the work that was in the 2023 plan, particularly around.
Okay. Excuse me.
Don
I don't know who that is, but please mute your microphone.
I don't think it had anything to do with it.
No, I think it's.
Let's fix it up. I thought it was Mr. Weiss, but I could wrong.
Sorry about that.
Anyway, sea level rise is one to make your report, but you guys all know that. Not all communities are that long, right? We really need someone paying attention to what the Army Corps is doing, and it's ready when the Chief's report lands in Congress in 2017. It's ready to champion that, get it funded, and really get it worked out in a comprehensive way that thinks about all of our different neighborhoods and thinks about the coastline as a whole. So it's a priority for me. That's a specific issue. I wanted to make sure I discuss that and talk about it with all the really experts. But the broader project, I think you get the sense there's a different kind of leadership I think could be offered at this time that I'm not seeing, that we are desperate to connect to the district. And I'm happy to get into the political stuff, the endorsements, money, blah, blah, blah. My team is here. We've got a growing campaign. We were in the Globe today. Happy to look at the front page. There's a story about us. So very excited. I try to keep it 10 minutes.
You did a great job.
Thank you. I do have a question, and looking at your campaign side by side with Representative Lynch, and that is, I think, I won't speak for him. I think his selling point is the influence and support that he already has, and the influence that he can bring to local projects. You're talking about things very much on the federal level, and that's very important given the political climate that we're in. But as a new guy coming in and tending to issues of your district, that I think is something that Representative Lynch has focused on very much. maybe to the detriment of the larger issues, but that is I think a selling point of his.
I agree that he might say that.
Okay.
Your member of Congress is supposed to go to Washington and work on regulation of Congress. That is the main role. That is a very important role. The member of Congress is not here to intervene in local issues and to serve as sort of a regional chief, like and have say on individual development projects. I actually think that's quite a version of the role that I have seen him adopt and even tout. I think it's a confusion of what you're supposed to do there. I'm not saying that a freshman member of Congress is going to rewrite the Constitution and get all this stuff done, but like there are really serious problems that are facing the country right now, and they need someone who's full time thinking about those problems and speak on behalf of this district. I think he might make the argument, well, I've been there for a long time, so I can get things done in Washington. I don't see that, right? I mentioned he's run for leadership a few times. We haven't seen big legislation attached to it. Most recently, last year, he ran to be ranking member of the Oversight Committee and lost that to a second member. So he hasn't convinced his colleagues he's getting stuff done there. To the extent his pitches, well, I get stuff done here. I mean, man, I just don't think that's the job. We've got to state about
Any other questions for Patrick? We do have to move on with the agenda. I appreciate you taking time.
Yeah, I'd love to come back and come find me. You know, it's Patrick at the website. Our tool out it. I'd love to hear from everyone individually, and I don't want to hijack. So, thank you, Patrick.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. Well, now we have Julie and Bessie King. Oh my gosh. We have a microphone right over here. If you don't mind coming over, it'll be easier for the folks on the Zoom call to hear you.
Cafe. We started in Woburn, Massachusetts, 26 years ago. We were one of the first authentic Mexican restaurants in the state. So we take our, business very seriously. If we don't need it in Mexico, we don't sell it. We're very proud to say that we don't serve alcohol. Our fame and our success is based on the food and service only. And we are just a couple blocks away from here. So I see some friendly faces that have visited our restaurant, but not all the faces in this room. I don't want to make you feel guilty, but we were talking before about the thing in the restaurant place. We've been in that location for 10 years. And 3 weeks ago, we almost closed because we were falling behind on rent. Last year, sales were dismal. It was one of the worst years in business for us. And thanks to very quick action and our landlord's patience, we were able to collect the funds needed through personal loans from our customers because they believe in our business. And we paid our rent in full and we're back. The lease has been reinstated. We have another 5-year extension and another 5-year after that. So, we continue with this labor of love. And I wish there were more licenses available for small takeout, fast, casual concepts like ours, but that's not the case in Boston. However, we are exploring any and all options to use our outdoor seating, which will be starting live in May, hopefully May 9th. So we're going to get a series of monthly 1-day liquor licenses, which is just for beer and wine. So we'll be able to sell beer and sangria. And the way we want to have these events is we'll have a taco fest. And it's just like a ticketed event. So you come in, you eat as many tacos as you want. We have non-alcoholic beverages as well, and then you pay your Blue Sea drink per bottle or per glass of sangria, for example. So that way is one of the ways that we're trying to maximize our outdoor seating and increase sales, especially because of all the events that are coming up in the summer. We also have catering. So many of you work in the companies around here. And one of the things that really hurt us is remote work. So if you work in the area, in the financial district, and you may need lunch for your team or for your office event, please consider us. Like I said, we're doing everything and anything, not only to survive post-COVID, but to bring back our business to profit, because it has not been profitable for the last 3 years. However, we have maintained the business. We haven't gotten money for ourselves, but we have been able to keep our business going, our team employed. And I'm also very proud to say we are an all-women team. We're an all-immigrant women team. Half of them are mothers. And so we're very conscious of where we source our ingredients, where we hire our people, what we give back to the community.
So we're here, we have been, nudging Suzanne, I believe that's you, okay, nice to meet you. In person. To try to come and meet our neighbors face to face and welcome you to eat, welcome you to get catering, welcome you to use our outdoor patio now that it's ready. It's not as fancy as Bostonia, but it's still very nice. You'll be able to eat there. We've had birthday parties, people hire mariachi and they bring it there and it's okay. So if you want an authentic flavor of Mexico, if you want to support a locally owned immigrant business, women-owned business that has really been steadfast based on food and service, please come visit us. Try some of our waffle chips and sausage chips and take a coupon to order on the apps. But if you have any questions or if you'd like to, have us bring you food, please let me know. My name is Betsy. My mom is Julie. Our last name is King. I know that doesn't sound very Mexican, but I'm married to an American. So I'm half Navy baby, Mexican American, and that's where the name comes from. But we're very much from Mexico City, loud and proud, and we're very happy to call off our home and to be in the financial district going on our 10th year this year, and hopefully receive some of your business and also your friendship, because that's what we say. Our business is not just a business, it's part of our home, and our customers are not just patrons, they are our friends. So please
Remind everyone of the name of your business again, please.
Villa Mexico Cafe, like a Mexican villa, but switch it around. Villa Mexico Cafe.
And the address is?
Best burritos in Boston and the best tacos in Boston. We've won awards, we don't just say that.
Yeah.
So yes, come.
On Water Street.
On Water Street.
Yeah.
121 Water.
What are your hours?
Monday through Friday, it used to be open 7 to 7, but now it's 9 to 4. Starting when the patio opens in May, we're going to extend it to 6. So it's Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. And as soon as the first party, May 9th, fingers crossed, all permits and all construction goes well, the Taco Fest is going to start Saturdays, 9 to 6 p.m. as well. So Monday through Saturday, starting May 9th, 9 to 6.
That will be on your website?
Yes, on our website, social media, and in anyone ran a marathon this week. It is an annual tradition. We give runners free burrito or burrito bowl. So we've had some wonderful visitors this week. If you ran the marathon, if you know someone who ran the marathon, bring them over for a free burrito. Just someone who ran. If you were cheering, you don't get it. Any other questions?
I have a question, but I've eaten it many times.
Yeah.
Catering service.
Huh?
It's my daughter's birthday, it's fabulous. And nicest people in the world.
Thank you.
We really need you for this kind of small business.
Absolutely. I'm delighted that you came tonight. Thank you so much. And I will be there. I will.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. But yeah, please have some shows to the following agenda.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, Bessie. And Mark, you're going to talk about, give us an update on the climate resilience activities.
Sure. So just 3 things quickly. Number one, Arab is receiving an award that Suzanne, I believe that you're going to, with Derek Anderson, to receive from the American Council of Engineers for the work that they did on our behalf. In addition to that, on the 28th of April, the Wharf District Council will be receiving an award from the mayor for the community. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's the community that's done the most on the in terms of climate resilience planning, which is a very nice recognition. And then on April 30th and the next few days after that, we will be installing the kiosks that we've been talking about that are being manufactured right now, that will appear at the Harbor Garage, the Greenway, Christopher Columbus Park, and the aquarium. And I encourage you all to take a look at the QR code that's going to be on that and sign up if you're not already, and get your friends to sign up so that we can continue to share the work that the Wharf District Council is doing that we all consider to be so worthwhile.
Thank you. And once those kiosks go up, please take pictures of them and share them on social media and tag at
For
Wharf.
sure. For sure. I do believe that, although I didn't get the information directly, I know that Bobby Rudolph did, that they're going to be repaving State Street within the very near future. And I think that's all that they're doing right now is just repave. They're going to grind it and repave it. So if you see that work going on, it's not like they're doing the big project yet. They're just fixing it up for sale Boston.
Excellent. Anything else? Mark, on your from you?
Nope, that's it.
Any new business?
I don't
Suzanne?
have any.
Anybody have new business? Anybody online on the Zoom? All right.
I
Well,
do want to welcome the new general manager.
yes. Oh my goodness. Welcome.
Thank you for
Please.
attending this meeting. You know, you want to say a few words?
Yeah, so my name is Pawlowski. I actually used to own a restaurant right up the street where State Street Provisions was. I'm just called City Landing back in.
Goodness.
A beautiful commute. Yeah, it's nice to be back in the neighborhood. Yeah, thank you for the warm show.
So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having your input and involvement.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. Yeah. And then living next door, having a hotel as next door neighbors is a wonderful thing. It's great having.
And what a iconic property, a true Boston hotel in its identity and in its service. I worked for years with Old Town Trolley Tours and with Boston Harbor City Cruises, so I know your team very well, sales, concierge, all those folks. So what a lucky guy you are to be joining so wonderful property. Great. Well, I think that is all the business for the Oh, wait a minute. So hold on. Oh, Maria Perez is on. Maria has your hand up. I'm sorry, Maria.
Hi. Sorry, just really quickly.
Sure.
For those of you who don't know me, Maria Perez, the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I can share a little bit of an update from Public Works about the upcoming roadway construction if you'd like.
Please.
Yeah, so they let me know that starting Sunday night, April 26th, of course, weather permitting, Public Works will begin a phased roadwork project that includes milling the roadway, adjusting castings and full asphalt, resurfacing curb to curb. The work will take place primarily overnight to minimize daytime disruption. The impacted streets include Atlantic Ave, Seaport Boulevard to East India Row, and Summer Street to Seaport Boulevard, Congress Street, Atlantic Ave to Dorchester Ave, and State Street to Purchase Street, Court Street, Washington Street, and Tremont Street, Purchase Street, High Street, and Congress Street, State Street, Service Road to Washington Street, and as always, this is weather dependent and work will happen in phases, so not all streets will be impacted at once. Residents and businesses should expect temporary parking restrictions during active work, some overnight noise, and short-term traffic impacts in those corridors. I'm almost sure that Public Works did flyer and send send notice to abutters. I'm not 100% sure. But if anybody has any questions or if there's anything that you want me to look into, I'm more than happy to do that. But I just wanted to let you know.
If you can send us this information, we'll pass this on to our members, because I found out about it because one of our members said that Scotch taped to his front door.
Yeah, that's like normally how they try to get it out as quick as possible.
That'd be great,
Yeah,
Maria.
I
You
can
would
send you
pass
an
it
email.
on to Susan.
Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you.
No problem.
Anything else? I'm gonna have some chips and.
We get a vote.
Oh, yes, we do have some votes happening, so if you are a member, please stand by and we will proceed with the votes we discussed earlier in the call. Stand by for just one moment. As I see Primitives on the call. Florie. Start in just a moment.
While we have just a minute, I did just want to say that we do have the keys ready for the Greenway storage. So whenever, if you want us to bring them over to you, or if you want to stop and pick them up, just let us know.
I'll pick it up. In fact, I'll stop
Thank you, Mo.
Thursday.
Okay, great. I'll let the team know. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Suzanne, you wanna?
Okay, so members, we need to do, board members. I don't know who's online.
We have Old Town Trolley, Primitive, and Greenway Place is here.
You are not, you are voting on it? Okay, so we heard 3 presentations. One is the beer garden at Greenway Hall. They're asking us for a letter of support.
I think it's fine, personally.
All in favor? Favor. Yeah.
Opposed? Passed.
Pass.
Second one is the wireless installation, 3644 Broad Street. Any questions?
Wait, tell me more about the horseback riding.
I think it's fine.
I should have asked them here. We kept saying Verizon. So I know with our building Verizon, is cost. Verizon option. And Verizon's been trying to fit me as a building code that's not 12%. And one of the power
Not here.
of the news for that. Verizon is the neighbor, but what's not. I don't think so. I think those towers are strictly to do cell signal. Anytime you're talking about cable, cable, they think it's just.
That's why it's on the roof.
Yeah.
They will not affect your.
Now, one of them,
Any other
So moved. Okay.
Aye.
opposed? And the last one is our friends at 125 for a letter of support with respect to their transfer of a restaurant and malt beverages license. Any comments about that?
No.
I'm in favor of that.
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect. Thank you all. Okay, I
Okay.
think Matthew, you can.
I'm beating my imaginary gavel. This meeting is.
Unfortunately, the folks on Zoom are not having this delicious treat.
Yeah.
Oh, we're having our own. Good job, Matthew. Good job, Suzanne.
Thank
Look forward
you.
to seeing you all again soon.
Thanks, everybody. Bye all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Good night, Tim.
Sometimes.
Never seen.
They're supposed to come. Sometimes the process, they just, it's not a transfer of an